There's nothing like being in my favorite place, like in the green room, like where the magic happens, where it goes down, and we get to ask any question we want, and sometimes they answer, sometimes they don't. So right now before me, you have the one and only with all those books behind her. I'm gonna ask later, does she actually read those books, by the way? The one and only Celeste Johnson. Celeste, they have your bio. We sent the extensive, the long one, so they're all about you. But take a moment, if you will, for those folks that want to know. Shay, ask her, who is Celeste Johnson? And we want to know, what is she up to these days?
Well, I'm reading all these books, right? Actually, these are not all my books. I actually have boxes and boxes more in storage. I am a book junkie, so part of it is reading. But hey, Shay, thank you, first of all, for this opportunity to be with you and your audience. It is a thrill. I'm glad we were able to reconnect. It's been a while, so this is really a pleasure. And what have I been up to? Oh my gosh, I've been adjusting like many of us have been doing this year. Still out there speaking and training and coaching and helping women in particular, but people in general, to hone their leadership skills. So they're really stepping out for themselves and for those that they influence. It's really pretty cool. Been doing a lot of traveling until COVID hit. Actually, I was traveling around the world a lot. You may recall, I think in the bio, you'll see that until just recently, I was, Les Brown worked with him as his COO, and we were traveling. Actually, Dubai was the last trip right before COVID hit. So a lot of travel, a lot of experiences there. I just launched a membership site, which I'm thrilled about, and I'll tell you more about that throughout the program. But lots of really exciting things. I'm shifting to that online presence and really honing those skills. So it's a lot of excitement going on right now.
A lot of excitement going on, and I love how you said that. Now, you mentioned one word, and we'll get to it. We're in the green room, and you said helping entrepreneurs and folks really hone their leadership skills. Now, I don't put you on the spot, but leadership means different things to different people. So can you take a moment for the entrepreneurs that are watching, for the leaders that are watching out there, for the speakers, authors, coaches, trainers, network marketers? What does leadership mean to you, by the way, and how do you help everyday folks like us just be better leaders? I know we'll get into dare to succeed despite the odds, but we're in a green room.
Absolutely. And that's a great question, because leadership is such a broad topic and is very commonly used. But my emphasis, my preference is to really focus on the leader first, helping them to understand their strengths. Leadership in itself is influence, and you don't have to have a title to lead. You lead your own life, you lead your family, you lead in the community, you lead perhaps in a professional environment or what have you. But I think it's really critical, and where I emphasize my energies is on helping that individual become very clear of their strengths and who they are and what their assignment is, so that they're actually able to leverage their best selves wherever that might be. It could be a group of women they've gathered or colleagues or whatever it might be. So leadership is about influence. And my charge is to help that person be the best person to lead, because if they're confident in who they are and they're clear of who they are and what their mission is, then when they engage with others, they are better able to influence them in a positive way. So that's how I approach leadership.
I love that. And we had a caller called in several months ago. And again, I don't want to put you on the spot, but she talks leadership. So I know you're out there, Kathy. I see you. What's going on, Samantha? Thanks for joining. Don't worry about it, Jonathan. We're in the house, by the way. She called in and she said, Shay, and this maybe goes to leadership, but it's really, how do they handle themselves in this situation? She says, Shay, I'm now working at home full time. I'm now a full-time wife. I'm now a full-time mom. By the way, I'm a full-time school teacher, and I happen to be a full-time administrator because I got to turn in the kids' homework. And did I tell you at the same time I'm a full-time cafeteria worker, and I've never really cooked this much. And I'm trying to get my business off the ground, and I feel overwhelmed. I'm moving, but I just feel overwhelmed. And I've been asking other folks to come on. I'm going to ask you that question, not to put you on the spot, but what would you say to her? And it could be a guy, so please, I'm not saying just women. But what do you say to someone that's like, Shay, I've got so much going on as well. What does Celeste recommend and suggest I do? Or what advice would she offer someone like me?
Absolutely. Stop. Pause. Get off the treadmill. You can stay on that treadmill and keep going and going and going until you burn yourself out And, for a minute, we will say, oh my gosh, he was really a good old girl, or he was a really great guy. But life will go on. We often get caught in the mindset that we have to do all the things that we have on our agenda. And it's not true. One of the things I often say to people is one of the basic premises that I say, life is a choice. You can choose anything in your life. There's nothing you absolutely have to do. Now, circumstances may make you really want to do it. You may feel like you have to do it, but you really don't. And so I think that we just carry on one additional thing, and we think it's important for our kids and most people will not die if they're not participating in that extra event. You just have to stop. You have to make that choice before life stops you. And then after you stop, pause, look at it, and reassess. What are the priorities? What's the most important thing to do? Sometimes you just have to delegate it for later or take it off your list altogether. What is the quality of life that you have? Are you happy with that? And it sounds like they're not, which is why they're talking about this. So we have the power. We absolutely have the power to craft and design the life we want. And so we have to make those choices. And some choices are difficult. But in the long run, if you're clear of what's important to you, what your values are, what you want your life to look like, stop, assess, make some adjustments, and then start again. That's what I would say.
Woo! Stop, assess, make some adjustments, and then start all over again. Here's what I do know. For Earl that's out there watching, Charmaine that's watching right now, Kat that's watching right now, Kevin that's out there watching right now, just know one thing. The best is yet to come. We ain't got started. We're in the green room. I know we got a show. I got to get going, Celeste. I know you're fired up. You're pumped. She's going to talk about this whole dare to succeed despite the odds. And don't worry. I'm going to ask her, why that title, okay? Why that title? We'll be back in 5. You know how I do it. 4, 3, my favorite part, 2, 1. We got to jump. Promise I made to my mom. I only did this message for one person, and that's my mom. This is for you, Mom. Love you. My name is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Shay Brown.
Mic check, mic check.
All I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
Yes. Yeah.
And they stay there. And they stay there, and they stay there. Cause all I do is win.
It's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue-focused late-night show in the country where we're on a mission. And our mission is to empower. Our mission is to really inspire. And our mission is to provide you, that's right, you, the entrepreneur, with all of those resources that are necessary to execute that big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And I always like to really share 3 visions. I think it's so important. It's near and dear to me. I believe you have 3 visions, by the way. I believe first, you have a vision for yourself. Like, the type of job you want, the home you want to live in, the energy that you want to have, or just the organic food that you want to eat. And it takes resources, which means it takes revenue to execute that vision. I believe you have a second vision, by the way. You have a vision for your loved ones, like the ones you love the very most. I think of Mother Dear, 74 years old, lives right 15 minutes down the road, loves spending time with her and being able to do things. Amazon's her favorite thing now. And it takes resources, okay? Which means it takes revenue. Some of you want to send your kids to a school of your choice. I get it. Some of you just want to write a check for a cause that you believe in. It takes revenue. So we're going to talk about that. And then the third vision I believe you have is you have a vision for the people you, not me, you were called to serve. And I want you to imagine that these people are waiting for you. And you're like Noah in the Bible. I'm not going to pose my faith on you. That's not what I'm going to do. But imagine, since I'm a believer, that you're Noah in the Bible. And you're ready to get started. That means God's giving you all the experience. It means he's giving you all the expertise. And then right before you get started, there's a knock at the door. What's up? Noah, over here. Sorry, man. There's no nails in the house. I just want to report that to you. No nails? No big deal. Who worries about no nails? No hammers. No, sorry. Noah, he said no hammers. There's no nails either, man. Rule number 1, don't panic. I'm not going to panic. It's all good. But then it's that third knock. How many of you know it's that third knock that just takes you out? What's up? Noah, there's no wood and there's no people. Good luck on this mission, man. That's the problem. Maybe that's you right now. You've got everything you need, but you got to dare to succeed against the odds. And you got the one and only, no matter what's happened to you, herself, Celeste, in the house. And she's going to talk about that. So let's say what's up. Hello, Celeste. How are you?
I am absolutely great and excited to be here, Shay. This is great. Yeah, I love your analogy. It's a wonderful thing. What do? No nails, no hammer, no wood, but you've got the vision, right? Or you receive that vision. And I think, let me comment on that if I could here. You know, in that story, he was given that vision, right, from God in that instance to do this. And we have to believe that once we're given, if it really is a vision, that's something that's birthed in us, that's when trust is a factor as well. We can see it, but we have to believe that what we need will present itself and not worry. Worry doesn't help anything. So I believe it's really important to see it clearly. And once you start really focusing on something, you'll find things that you never thought you could find. If you just really embrace that, believe it, have faith, and start looking for the solutions, because you know what, Shay? You find what you're looking for. If you want to find problems and challenges, you'll find those. If you want to find solutions and options, you'll find those. So start looking for the resources that you need. And it's amazing. It'll seem like it's just showing up, but they were always there. So it's just a really wonderful thing.
They were always there. I love it.
Always there.
Can we just address the elephant in the room?
Sure.
Just for a second. You picked this title.
I did.
And folks are showing up. Dare to succeed against the odds. Take a moment, if you would, just to unpack why that title, and what folks should expect just during our conversation. And there are a number of folks out there that are entrepreneurs, by the way. Some of them are dualpreneurs, so they work full time. They have a full time entrepreneurship, and they're like, man, how do I dare to succeed against the odds? Why the title, and what should they expect?
Excellent. Well, let me just say this also. I'm going to describe the title. It's a dear title to me, but I love entrepreneurs. I really do, because we are the enterprising people. We're the people that are creative. We're the ones that really shift what's happening in our world. So these are my people. The Dare to Succeed. Dare to Succeed is a title of my best-selling book. I have 8 books, and one is called Dare to Succeed, No More Excuses, It's Time to Win. And that's an offshoot from my experience of running the New York City Marathon twice. And there were a lot of life lessons that came from that experience. It was, the ultimate endurance race is life. And so that book actually describes that. Well, when we fast forward to this year, especially the last 12 or 18 months, I say dare to succeed despite the odds. Being successful as an individual, especially as an entrepreneur, when you branch out and you have this vision, you want to create something, it's challenging in its own right, because the average person, love them, they just kind of go to work, come home, go. But as an entrepreneur, you're stretching out of that. You're reaching out and you're trying something different. That's challenging on its own. But you add in the dynamics of this last year, especially with not only the virus and the loss of life, the loss of income, the loss of freedoms, all of those different dynamics. It's like, how do I succeed in the midst of all of this, all of those additional odds that are against us? So that's where the title came from when I said, how do you take some principles? What are those things? What do we need to hone in on? What do we need to focus in on, particularly now, in order to push past that wall that we inevitably are going to see? We're going to have odds. That's part of life. But what do? How do you reposition? How do you shift your focus from one thing to the other so that you indeed can get past the odds and win?
What holds people back? I mean, you get a chance to work with folks every single day. You get to have these conversations. And what would you say is one of the biggest challenges to hold folks back from really doing what they need to do? We'll get into Dare to Succeed, but I'm just curious on, what holds people back? I mean, it can't be like a new idea. It's not like it's a revelation. So what holds people back from really taking the action?
I think one of the main things, and it actually fits under the Dare as well, is lack of clarity of where they want to go. It's amazing to me, Shay. I have been speaking and coaching for decades, literally. I started when I was 5, right?
Congratulations.
But what's amazing is I talk to a lot of professionals, people that are really doing some great things, smart things. But when you ask them, the first question I ask, where do you want to go? What do you want to accomplish? And they're not clear. They may have a general idea, but it's not extremely clear. So when you have fuzzy vision, you get fuzzy results. So you have to push to clarify what it is you want to do. What do you want to accomplish? What's the desired outcome? So that's one of the reasons why. And then you have all of these other voices. We oftentimes are listening to people around us, maybe people that we love and are near us that may not see our vision or understand where we're trying to go. And they may say, oh, you're too old to do that, or it's too late to get started, or that's not possible. And all of these negative voices. So what we have to do is reprogram ourselves and be mindful of what we let in our mind. So that's another reason why people tend to be held back. I mean, there's a number of reasons, but clarity, lack of focus, and listening to these voices are many of the things that keep us from moving forward.
I love it. For those folks that are out there watching, by the way, here's what you can do. You can help another entrepreneur. You can hit the share button, hit the watch party button, and I want you to pay this message forward. Pay this message forward. Now, here's the good news. Celeste is not asking for a Cash App payment. She's not asking for a Zelly payment tonight. She's like, Shay, I'm here to serve. So you hit the share button and you serve and hit this button and share it with someone else. And when you hit the share button, and that box pops up, just write that little box, just write these words. Now is the time. Hashtag Celeste Johnson. No, now. Because she's not going to hopefully say do it tomorrow, do it next week. No. Now is the time. No matter what's going on, now is the time. Hit the share button. Because I'm about to ask her the question like, all right, did she just read this in one of the books that are behind us and kind of give us the backstory that led us to where she is now? So, she knows something about this. Now, maybe she watched a YouTube video. I don't know. But we'll find out in a moment. So you hit the share button, hit it now, and then I'm going to answer the question right now as you're paying the message for it. Celeste, give us a little bit of the backstory, a little narrative that led to where you are now, because you know something about daring to succeed against the odds.
I do. Let me tell you one more thing that came to mind when you were talking. That's a big thing that keeps people from moving forward, is the thought that it has to be perfect, or if they don't have all of the things, all the ducks in a row, then they don't stop. And so they're frozen and they don't just jump in. Now, I don't think you should just arbitrarily do it, but if you have a clear vision of where you want to go, you know the outcome you want, and you are being strategic, it will never be perfect. The timing will never be perfect. The plan will never be perfect. You do your best, but then you have to take imperfect action and then edit along the way, iterate along the way. We have to get started. Les often would say, you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to be started in order to be great. You have to start. I think a lot of us, we have an idea and we sit on the side and we don't have maybe an encourager, an accountability partner. That's one of the things I love. And I'm going to get on into more of the background on that. But one of the things the reason why I started a membership is that I see potential in people. That's my gift. I am an encourager, and I see potential in people that often they don't see in themselves, which is fine. That's a good thing. And so my charge is to help them see, to expand their vision of what's possible, and then provide some encouragement, support, and some practical first steps to get them going. And so then they'll blossom. You'll see, I love that. I love seeing them blossom. So I think finding that accountability partner, that support, and then just taking that first step is so critical. I mentioned in my bio, you'll see that for sure, I had the privilege and the honor of working with Les Brown, and many people know him, and I've worked with other speakers as well. But what I've learned is, even when I first started working with him, I met him years ago in Columbus, Ohio, long time ago, decades literally. And fast forward, a few years later, we met up again in Washington, D.C. He was at a book signing. And here's the part that goes to the point we're making here. So we were there and we're talking about, future and what we wanted to do, what I wanted to do. And I was about to go to grad school at American University. He had signed up, got accepted, was ready to go to grad school. And we were talking and he says, well, you could go to school and learn about it, or you can come out here and work with me and do it. And I was like, So that was a choice. I was at a point, what do I do? I love grad school, but I had an opportunity that presented itself that was pretty cool. And I deferred and I went on the road, right? So sometimes we're faced with opportunities and we're hesitant to jump. And I tell you, my life has shifted and gone in an amazing way from doing that and opened up so many different things. So we have to be willing to take calculated risk as well. And it's amazing when you walk down the street. I love this analogy. Think about it. If you are walking down, especially in New York, we have high rises. I'm talking about daring to succeed. You're walking down, you can see, a lot of things that's in front of you and the buildings on the side. But when you get to that corner, a whole new world opens up that you couldn't see before. You've got to be willing to take that step, to take the action, and then open up a new world. So that's what I encourage us to do. And if we could just be willing to take that step, it is amazing what will happen.
I'm with you 100%. Do you mind sharing a time in your life where you were smacked in the face, I'll say it like that, and life rocked you, and you had to use some of the methodology that you're sharing with us for your own self? And the reason I asked that question is others might be thinking, wow, she's got this thing wired and she's helping other folks, and it's good that she's teaching other folks. But Shay, in her own life, other than what you just shared, was there some time that kind of rocked you to your core? Did you feel comfortable sharing, obviously?
Absolutely.
That you said, I had to dig down, I had to use this to be resourceful, to persevere.
Yes. Like, how about now? Seriously, think about this. Okay, again, have been doing this a long time. I speak and I inspire and encourage people, and I sing. I love to sing, and they tell me, oh man, that really helped me, and I get these notes, and that's fantastic. But what do you do when you're facing with it? Or when, like in the beginning of the year, I had all these events lined up, right? And I was going to be traveling here and there, and they were all canceled. I had scheduled a retreat that I had booked the event, and all of that got canceled. And again, one of the things that I shared with you, we were talking earlier before the show, is that last year in September 11th, I won't ever forget that, was the day that my mother decided to move to heaven. And that was 18 days after my sister had transitioned as well. So this whole year was really tough. Talk about getting a 1-2 punch. I wasn't that motivated to do anything. My heart was broken and bruised, and it still is. And then right after that comes the COVID and 1-2 punch. So what do you do, Celeste? And it's interesting, I do go back and read my own materials. Like, what did I say? Sometimes it's like, what was that? And I really do. I go back and visit. I'm a consumer of content, a lot of content, and I dive in and I remind myself of those principles, those strategies. And we can forget, many of us, we know a lot of this, but we don't always practice it. Knowing it is not enough. You have to put it into action. And sometimes we falter, we fall. So go back. We have that morning ritual where you get up and you pray, you meditate, you get your exercise in, you build your immunity, which is another thing we can do. It's so many things we know to do, but we don't always do them. So that's what I do. I go back, seriously, I go back and read. And matter of fact, was kind of funny. I forget how good it was. I said, who wrote this? It's a good thing. But I mean, seriously, it's those kind of things. Like when I talk about DARE, DARE is an acronym. And it stands for, D is discipline yourself in various areas. The A is act with clarity and focus. The R is to raise the bar in various areas. And the E is engage in various areas. And I break them all down in the book. And so when I go back, and D is one of the most critical one, which is discipline. Discipline your mind. What are you doing? What are you allowing in your mind? Let me tell you, right now, more than ever, it's so much information out there, and a lot of it is negative. If you watch the news every day, I was glued to it for a while with the election and all that, but I tell you, it will make you think the world is totally falling apart. Now, it's pretty crazy here, particularly in the country, but we have to be mindful of what we allow into our minds and protect that. So I've turned it off. I tune in every now and then just to make sure we're still here. But then you have to feed your mind with positive stories, possibility stories, people that have overcome odds. As I think about this topic in particular, I think about different people in our history. There was a woman Rudolph, she actually was a runner. If you think about this, many years ago, and she had some challenges. Wilma Rudolph, you might remember, and she had, the measles and scarlet fever. She had a brace on her leg, and she couldn't even walk. People didn't think she could walk, and yet she became a three-time Olympic champion. How did that happen? If she can do it, I can do it. She dared to succeed despite the odds. You think about Colonel Sanders. It was not until 65 years of age when he started at KFC. When you think about how he went through different things, people say it's too late, I can't do it. No, when you read those stories, you put that in your head, it inspires you. We talked about Les. He came from little or nothing, right? And how did he go from that to being worldwide? When I go on the trip with him, it doesn't matter where I am. This is mind-boggling to me. It really is. People will walk up to him, all kinds of people, old, young, white, black, different languages. You changed my life. It's like, what did he say that changed your life? I'm saying, what did you do? But to make that kind of impact from someone that started, in an abandoned building on the floor, as he'll tell you his story, that means it's possible. Those kind of stories, that's what you do. Feed your mind that every day. And when you continually do that, the Bible says, meditate it on day and night so that you will do the work. So you have to feed yourself. That's a really key component. Discipline your mind is so critical. Your mind is phenomenal. Let me just say this one more thing. I love talking about the mind because it is the most amazing gift that we have. And unfortunately, when we're born, we don't usually get in a manual to tell you how to maximize it, but we have to learn how to really extract the possibilities out of our mind. We want a growth mindset. I don't know if you've heard of the difference between a growth mindset and having one that's really, excuse me, one that's a fixed mindset. I don't know. The difference is the growth mindset.
Well, tell us. Don't leave us hanging. We're all out there saying we're on a cliff. Don't leave us hanging. For you out there, hit the share button. If you haven't hit the share button, one of the ways to give her a digital applause is to hit the share button. That's a digital applause. So pay this message forward to someone else. So not only can they dare, but they can succeed against the odds. She's about to tell you the difference between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset, and she's going to break that thing. Now, I didn't know she's going to do this, so I'm telling you right now, if you're on the front row and you're watching, and you're like, I want to let her know, Shay, I appreciate this, hit the share button. Hit the watch party button, and then write those words, dare to succeed against the odds. Dare to succeed against the odds. Hashtag Celeste Johnson, Jonson. She's here to serve. She's giving her best. You hit that share button. Pay this message forward to your tribe. If you want to copy the link and post into another group, it's okay to do that, okay? It's okay to do that. She's perfectly fine with that. She's here to serve. Over to you. Go ahead and break it down, please.
Absolutely. When you think about a growth mindset, it is synonymous with success mindset. That's the kind that says, you know what? This is challenging, but I can overcome this. Or this challenge causes me to grow. I need to look for another avenue, another way to make it work. Or I like to try new things. That's a growth mindset. That's the one that says, this is really difficult. I have to stay inside my house, and I don't really like that. But I shift and say, but there are projects that I've been needing to do all along. Let me work on that. That is going to give me that opportunity to develop things that I've been wanting to write that book, to do that project. That's a growth mindset. A fixed mindset is saying, you know what, this is the best I can do. This is who I am. I can't learn anything anymore. Failure is just a limited of my abilities are limited. I can't do anymore. I'll get frustrated and I give up. It's over. I can't believe these people are saying that. I mean, that's fixed. We have to look at what the possibilities are and embrace those. It really is quite amazing. I'm starting to, I teach and I train and I engage a lot and I have a lot of information. Les says, you have so much information, Celeste, you don't need to learn another thing. I've trained for years and I love information, but I'm always honing my skills. And so I've been learning and I've been investing. And let me say this, really key. You have to invest in yourself financially and with your time to learn new skills. So I've paid big money to learn how to do masterminds. How do you do memberships? How do you do challenges online? How do you do books, creating books online, that kind of thing? What do you need to do to be extraordinary at it? Invest in those kind of things. That's a growth mindset. and it will pay off dividends. And here's the thing that I learned also, Shay, because I'm in it right now. You asked me, what do I do when I face it? Like I said, in that transition, it can get frustrating because when you're growing, you're learning. It doesn't happen overnight. Growth is a process. Learning is a process. And some people are just going off doing whatever their normal thing. And I'm over here like trying to figure out what's going on. But I know in the long run, I'm going to have skills and insights that they won't have. See, you have to be willing to do the things today that others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow that others won't have. You have to dive in and learn these skills, learn whatever you need to do, get in contact with the right people, invest in making contacts with people. When you do that, it's amazing. I figure if they can do it, and God bless them, that's wonderful, but they're no better than then I can do it as well. But you have to be in that environment. That's what entrepreneurs do. That's what the growth mindset is. It's just phenomenal. It's wonderful. It's exciting.
She's loving what she's doing. She's having a great time. Ladies and gentlemen, you're hearing the one and only Celeste Johnson as she talks about how dare to succeed against the odds. Oh man, what amazing. You know, we're moving to a segment now called Today is My January 1st. And it's one of our core philosophies. It's one of our core beliefs here. And for those folks that know what I'm about to do, you can look below the video. What's up, Nicole? She says, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. What's up, Cheryl Graham out there in California? I see you. Here's what today is. You can look right below the video and you can write these words. Today is my January 1st. And when you write those words, today is my January 1st represents one of those moments. Now, if you're new and this is your first time, welcome to the show. Let me explain to you. Today is my January 1st is one of those beliefs that you don't wait till January 1st to create a new you. Any day on the calendar is a January 1st. In fact, Happy New Year to you, by the way. Happy New Year. That's great. That's a January 1st. January 1st moment is one of those decisions, there's probably 1,000 throughout the day, where you can make that decision. It can forever change the trajectory of your life. You make a decision that you're going to work out. Yes. That's a January 1st moment. Or you're going to binge watch instead. Hey, that's still a January 1st moment. You make a decision. You're going to eat hamburgers and french fries with salt and pepper, a little ketchup. If you're my son, you got to have the hot sauce. or you're going to go and you're going to open up the refrigerator. And inside the refrigerator, there's some kale. Oh, that tastes so good. There's some broccoli. I know. It gets better. There's some Brussels sprouts. That's a January 1st moment. It's a do-over. It's a fresh start. It's my past. It no longer equals my future. So my question to the one and only Celeste Johnson, when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, what goes through your mind? What are you hearing?
I love it. It happens that we're approaching the official January 1st, and I love the concept that any day can be a January 1st day. But as we go forward, let me point this out, and I bet everybody that's listening can relate. Typically at the beginning of the year, a January 1st, official January 1st time, we have all of these resolutions, right? I'm going to lose weight this time, or I'm going to stop smoking, or I'm going to do X, Y, Z. We have all of these resolutions. And I believe that when people make them, they really believe it. They really want it to happen. And that's great. But we also know, and again, I bet everybody can relate to this, that people, if it's not themselves, people they've seen who have made these resolutions, they may make it through January, maybe even part of February, but then something happens and they revert back to old behaviors. If you've seen this before, let me give you some insight. This is still dealing with the discipline of the mind, and this is what I recommend we do. When we want something different, whatever that might be, and preferably is something better, what we typically do is we look at, okay, we want something different. We need to change the action in order to get a different result. Okay, that's smart. That's logical. But if we just stop there, we will find ourselves, because of stress or other situations, reverting back to our habits. This whole thing about Dare to Succeed is about success habits. And so how do we break that so that we don't revert back? Here's how you do it. You have to go further back than just the actions. We need to go back to our beliefs. We need to go back to what our emotions that are tied to situations and circumstances and change that. That's where our subconscious, our habits rest and live in our subconscious mind, not the conscious mind. We consciously make a different choice and we do something different. That's fine. But we need to go back. What are those beliefs, those underlying beliefs that's causing us to do that same behavior? If we never check that, we never change that, we never really get the full power. But when we do, listen to this is really important. When we go back further than just our actions, to our beliefs, to our emotions, the emotions that we attach to certain things, when we assess that and we decide those that are limiting beliefs and we decide to change them, and we develop those habits that are proven to be success-based habits. If we have success-based habits, follow me, habits by definition make things relatively effortless, right? Think about that. Habits, by definition, make things relatively effortless. We don't think about it as a habit. If we can make success behavior our habits, then success becomes relatively effortless. Follow me on that. So we need to go back. So what I would say, practical terms, right now, today, don't have to wait till January 1st, take the time to go back. What do you believe? What's driving you? Do we have beliefs that limit us on making money? Are we playing small because we think we need to play small? Do we believe we can be bigger, play bigger on that stage? What kind of emotional drama do we have? Are we emotional eaters? I raise my hand. What can I break that? We need to assess that and then start reprogramming that. And that's where you're going to get the ultimate success. Does that make sense?
Man, that makes so much sense. And you answered the second part of the question was, how do folks remain consistent? And you answered it best, which I think is habits. People form habits and habits form futures.
Absolutely. Let me give you one more piece on this because I love it. I love it. So what I would take all of what I just said, and then I would decide. And I was watching one of your previous shows when it was Myron Golden talking about decide is a cutting off and the whole thing. It is so key. You decide if you really are going to win, then you decide to a morning ritual. Have a morning ritual. Successful people have rituals. Successful people have rituals. Think about it. Athletes have rituals. People that really excel, they have a plan. And so have that time, that quiet time, get that exercising in, review your vision of where you want to go, read something that's going to empower you every single day. When you do that, it becomes your habit. And when you develop that as habit, you're unstoppable. And you want to be unstoppable. I had to go back. I'm telling you, I've been reading this. I said, Celeste, you got out of sync. You need to go back to what you know. And that's what I'm encouraging you all to do. It's really powerful.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Never underestimate the powers of the fundamentals. Yeah, she might be sharing some things that are fundamental, but you execute those fundamentals, you get big results. How true is that?
That's right.
Celeste,
That's
they're
right.
wondering right now. They're hearing you. They're like, wow, Shay, this is powerful. I'm curious, Shay, her firm, what type of clients does her firm work with these days? I mean, she does a lot, Shay. She does speaking, she does coaching, she does leadership, she does this. Shay, take a moment and just ask her what type of clients. And as you're listening, by the way, I want you to listen with two ears. One ear, listen to see maybe it's a good fit for you, for where you are. And in the other ear, maybe you know someone. And you'll be able to contact their office. Oh, you want to know how to contact their office. Okay. Celeste, it's a two-part question, okay? First, what type of folks do your firm work with? And secondly, how can they best contact you and your office over and beyond this conversation?
Great. I work with people who want to really be their best selves, that's in alignment with their gifts. They already do some things. They already have been successful, but there's something missing. They just feel like they haven't really they haven't lived their best life, or they haven't identified clearly what that legacy is. I believe so. Most of the people I'm dealing with are probably mid-career, 35, 54, not really millennials so much as people who have achieved certain things, but they just don't feel quite like they've done all they can possibly do. And I believe that we have God-given assignments. This is what I believe, and that's what drives what I do. And I want to make sure people have taken the time to get off that treadmill that we talked about earlier and do some assessments. Where am I? What's important? Where am I now? Where you are now is not necessarily where you were 5 years ago, or even a year ago, maybe. Life has changed, but we rarely take the time to do self-assessment and identify that. And then, what gifts do I have that maybe we have not been using? Many people get stuck on a path because they said they wanted to do it, or they started school and they don't want to turn around and, I've put so much time in it and money in it. I got to keep on. Well, if that's not what you've been called to do, you talked about who we called to serve. Who is that? Helping people to identify that and then moving forward. So I want to work with people who are willing to invest in themselves so that they can hone their best selves and then go out and influence the world. We need positive influencers, positive leaders right now. We need people that will reach to others, other-centered leadership and not self-centered leadership. I don't have to say any more about that. But if we can develop that, and particularly women, I work with men as well, but my passion is women are going to change the world. Hell, we love the men. We need the men.
Yes.
We need the men. We love the men. I'm open to possibilities with that. But, it's the women that are going, it's because that's the kind of leadership. I deal with mostly servant leadership. There's a variety of leadership models, and all of them have advantages and strengths for when you apply them. But the servant leadership models, similar to transformational, but really servant leadership is other-centered leadership. And women naturally, not exclusively, but naturally fit that much more effectively. So I'm helping to develop and hone those skills so they're able to communicate effectively. And then finally, Shay, this is what I would say as another factor that is really important to me, is when they've done all of this assessment, then they've identified their story. What is your story? Your story is what influences people more than facts and figures. If they can understand who you are and connect and relate. So how do you, first of all, hone what it is? And then most of my experience, having spoken and trained all that, and then with Les, of course, I've traveled and worked with him extensively, and we do a whole thing, Discover Your Power Voice. How do we take that story and help you to speak persuasively, whether it's in your community, whether it's at church, whether it's at your job? How do you present that in a most effective way? So that's who I work with, people who want to identify that, hone it, and actually execute, and we help them do that. How do you reach me? CelesteJohnson.com, www.CelesteJohnson, and that's JONSON.com. And if you go there, I have a free ebook on there. It's Operation Clean Slate. Oh, it's so great. It helps you to clean out old clutter. This is the perfect time to do it. Not only the physical, environmental design, but also emotional. Around the holidays, a lot of us are dealing with emotions, especially if we've lost someone. But even if not, Uncle Joe, we're not traveling as much as before, but we still have those emotional things. We need to forgive and release old stuff. Operation Clean Slate. If you go there, you can download the ebook. It's an abbreviated ebook that will give you some assistance.
Man, I love it. Go over to www.celeste, Johnson, JONSON.com. Get the book, right. Get the free gift, but more importantly, make sure you connect with her. Make sure you connect with her office, and if you know someone out there, pay the message forward. Matter of fact, as you're watching right now, you can do that. Mm-hmm. No, open up the browser. Like, in all seriousness, go over to www.celeste. Let's just make sure it works, okay? Celeste, right. CELESTE, Johnson, JONSON.com. Go there now, right. And then after you do that, hit the share button. Hit the watch party button. Pay this message forward to someone else. Be a blessing right now. Do that. Do it now. Hit the share button. Like, do it right now. Hit the share button. When? Now. Now, as they're listening, we're going to a segment called Rapid Fire. Rapid Fire is we get to ask any questions on our mind, and you can answer, or you can decline. You can pause, as we like to say. Not decline. I pause on that, Shay. I'll come back to that one. But my favorite question to ask, and of course, they're all my favorite. I wouldn't ask them, right? I wouldn't ask them. They're my favorite question. But one of my favorite questions is, of all the mentors you've had, and you've had so many on this journey, you really have, what's one lesson, just one, that you've learned from any of your mentors that you're going to pass on to us, that we can take when you out there right now? You lean into just lean in from it. Y'all just lean in and say, wow, she's about to give it to me. Yeah, the one lesson. Talk to us, Celeste.
Oh, it's so hard. You kind of mentioned that it's so hard to narrow it to one. I'm going to give you two just because I'm like that, right? One of it is very, very simple. My choir director, I'm a singer and I've been singing a long time, and I do solos, and some people, resent that you are, getting solos. And I remember getting my first Kennedy Center room with my name on it, all that. And they just kind of resent that. And I never asked for it. I just am doing it. So he came to me and he said, Celeste, to whom much is given, much is required. When you are excelling, when you have a big vision and you want to, there's some people who won't like that. And some of those may be your family and friends and people you would think that will be supportive, or for whatever reason. And I don't even say spend energy trying to figure that out. But when you've given an assignment, a big assignment, too much is given, much is required. It takes more. You have to step above all of that. And I think it comes to me often in various scenarios, and I remember that. And so that's one, very, very simple. One thing that Les says all the time, and I think is important too, he says, it's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. So it's about preparation. It's about doing the work. It's about being ready. It's about positioning yourself, doing what you can while you can, when you can. And therefore, when opportunities come, it's not scrambling around trying to figure out, oh my God, I missed it. So it's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. And what actually happens when you start preparing for an opportunity, it's amazing how they seem to come to you. Shay, I know you said one, but
it's you. So because it's you, you can't just give one. We're going to accept two. So give us a second one.
Yeah, and I think that when you do work, do your best no matter what, whether you're getting paid or not. Do your absolute best. When I work, I do a lot of work for my church. I do work for, for high-end clients or whatever, but all of them will get really great quality work. And the lesson for us watching is, for me, is an experience I had because I did something 5 years after I did something that was free. So I ran into someone at a Starbucks and they remembered it. And they said, hey, do you still do training? And I said, yes. And they said, we're working on a big government contract that needs trainers. And it's pretty quick. It's over in Africa. Would you be open to that? And I said, well, yeah, that'd be great. And I have since had many contracts, so many opportunities with this one person. And it was not an interview. I wasn't looking for it. It was based on what I did. Excellent. That was free. That opened up the door to many successful opportunities with this person. So that wasn't given to anyone. That was just kind of that's a bonus for you guys.
That's amazing. Thanks so much for the bonus. I love it. Next time, take me with you, all right? If you get a call like this, say, hey, Shay, I just need an assistant. I'll be right there. I'll take the trip with you. We'll hang out.
It was great. And this is a little sidebar, just another sidebar. Because, I went to that trip was to South Africa. And I've gone to Africa a few times, but most of the time it was on a mission trip. Mm-hmm. And that's great because, you do great work and it's fun. But that's not high end. That's kind of like you go on a mission trip. You go on a mission trip. Okay. You don't know where you might be sleeping. And it's okay. It's kind of whatever. And then this trip came up. It was like, oh, cool. I'm going business class, right? That was a little different. So it's a wonderful thing,
Oh, man. Well, congratulations to you. I know, second to last question. I know we're coming down the home stretch. We're in overtime, but I wanted you have so many books behind you, and folks are like, Shay, of all the books, she's written 8 books. We get that. Take the Bible off the table, Shay. Take off Think and Grow Rich off the table, or even Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice off the table. Of all the books she's read, Shay, what's one of the books that's had the significant impact on her? There's so many of them now. Obviously, there's a lot of them. But it's almost an unfair question. But all of them have. But if you had to pick one that's like top of mind to you right now, which one pops top of mind and why?
What comes to mind right now, because that is a very unfair question, is Essentialism. Essentialism is a great book. It's in alignment with another one called The One Thing. And both of those are helping you focus. When I talk about the A in my Dare to Succeed is act with clarity and focus. You have to be very clear where you want to go. flexible on how you get there, but clear where you want to go. The clarity is very powerful, but being clear is not enough. You can know a clear pattern where I want to go and not be focused on it. So essentialism and the one thing helps you to really hone in on the one thing or the essentials that will help you get where you want to go. And you release the rest of them, right? You do your best with that and you release the rest and it will take care of itself. Those would be two that, I mean, I love a lot, but those would be two that come to mind. And I think they're very important right now because there's so much drama, so many things going on. We need to focus.
I like both of
Focus,
those.
breakthrough power. It's like the laser beam. It gives you breakthrough power. Is the power of focus is amazing.
So well said. Both are so well said. Let me first say thank you so much for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. If you haven't hit the share button, hit the share button now. If you haven't hit the watch party button, hit it now. Pay this message forward. If you haven't gone over to www.celeste, CelesteJonson, if you haven't done that yet, .com, CelesteJohnson.com, go over there now. Make sure you get the free gift. Make sure you pay it forward. Now, I'm going to turn over to Celeste. She's agreed, by the way, in all fairness, to share her final thoughts, to share some thoughts to inspire, to encourage you.
Yes.
Some guests say they can't do it. They just don't have the time. I asked her, and she said, and there's no slighting against my other guests. I love every single one of you, so please don't think I don't. I know, things do happen, but Celeste said, nah, I've had a long day, Shay. It's been long, but I'll be here, and I want to share whatever needs to be shared. So I've asked her to do it, so she'll have some thoughts. I'm going to ask her again to tell you how to connect with her and so forth.
Yes.
But your final thoughts. Thanks a lot. You have a heart to give. You have a heart to serve. You can always make more money. That I'm confident with, but you can't make more time. And so you're giving us the most precious resource you have, which is your time. So thank you so much on behalf of the Happy Entrepreneur Show. I turn it over to you.
Very good. I'm going to give you 2 points.
Yeah.
One, it's the R in the Dare to Succeed. Raise the bar on endurance. We talked about dare to succeed despite the odds. You're going to run into resistance. How do you get past that? You need to raise the bar on endurance. Let me give you a couple of things to hold on with that in the story. First of all, you have to decide, go back to that phrase, that word, decide, that quitting is not an option. You may pause, you may get off, and you may decide to change the direction, but quitting is not an option. And you have to learn how to become comfortable with discomfort. Become comfortable with the discomfort. Be unstoppable. When I ran the New York City Marathon the first time, I did it twice. And I was around a mile 20, and I got a cramp in my left leg. And I never had cramps along the way in my training or anything like that. And prior to running the marathon, you actually run a marathon. You run 20-something miles before the actual marathon. So I never got a cramp before, though. And I knew I couldn't focus on the cramp, because if you focus on the cramp, it would have got bigger. We know whatever you focus on gets bigger. So I couldn't focus on the cramp. I'm talking about raising the bar on endurance. So I said, okay, I've got to think of something else. I have to discipline my mind and think of something else. And I said, okay, I was thinking about the rain. It actually rained that whole year while running. We were just wet people running, right? So I shifted my mind from the pain to the rain. Oh, that's a poem. That's right. So I did that. And then also I thought about the headset. I had my music on. So I was shifting my mind to the music. And I actually thought that I didn't have like that rags to riches story. I hadn't overcome any major obstacles before, but I knew if I finished this race, I'd have something to talk about. And I do, right? So I did that shifting in my mind, and I'm not kidding. The pain went away right into my right leg. It's like, oh no, I have to do this all over again, right? So I said, okay. So I started thinking about this poem that I had written about a year before, and it was called It's Not Over Till I Win. And I started talking to myself with this poem. And sometimes talking to yourself is the only time intelligent conversation takes place, right? So the poem goes like this. It says, when current results are different than what I thought when I began, I must not quit, but keep repeating, it's not over till I win. When problems and changes are all around me and I can't seem to find a friend, I must say to myself once more, it's not over till I win. It's not over. No, not over. I must know this deep within, in my mind, my heart, and my spirit. It's not over till I win. I will never give up. I will never give in. I will never give out. It's not over till I win. I say it every morning, through good, through bad, through thick and thin. Every day I say with conviction, say it with me. It's not over until I win. The pain went away, and I went across the finish line 5 hours, 11 minutes, and 51 seconds later, right? It is about pressing past the wall. You're going to hit it. It's going to be, so you shift your focus. You look beyond that. Look at the reasons why you do it. You remind yourself of that. And beloved, before you know it, you're at the finish line. And that's what you want to do. So raise the bar on endurance. And my final note to you, Shay, and all of the people watching, first of all, thank you so much for tuning in. I trust and pray that these kind of thoughts have been helpful. What really drives me, and this is what hit me, and I want to invite those to join me that want to. On May 27th of this year was the day here in the United States, and I know there may be people from all over, but it was the day that the country, our country, U.S., passed the 100,000 mark of people who died from COVID. That was May 27th. I remember it clearly, and it was very interesting because I was sitting here in my office, and it just hit me. As I mentioned earlier, I was still in a mourning stage from my own personal losses. And I just magnified that by 100,000. I said, oh my gosh, all of this sadness and pain is out here. And that was just me. Multiply that by multiple family members and friends. What do you do? You know, I'm always thinking, how can I help? What do you do? And so I sat there and I said, you know, we can't ever replace those people. There are histories. There was wisdom that's gone forever. So we honor them. But then I said, what if we can counter that weight with hope? We need hope. And from that point on, I initiated this membership called 100,000 Voices of Hope in Action. That's where the 100,000 came from. It was tied to the losses that we had here. 100,000 Voices of Hope in Action. So it's a cadre of people coming together. First, I fill your hope wagon up. We can't give from an empty wagon. So we pour into you, again, understanding who you are and what you have and how you can give. And then we encourage your projects through various outreach opportunities that we create or that you already have to reach out and multiply the sense of hope and what's possible. We need that more now than ever before. And as we go into 2021, I'm looking for people who want to join me on that journey. There is a website called voicesofhopeinaction.com. Voicesofhopeinaction.com. That is for that membership. If you're interested in finding out or joining in with what we're doing, take a look at that. Or if you know some others that might want to do that, I'm really excited. So that's what I'm doing. I thank you, Shay, for this opportunity to share. And all of you, I trust that some of these ideas that we've shared, just knowing it is not enough. You have to implement them. And if you want more, reach out to me. I'd be happy to share it.
With that being said, you've heard from the one and only Celeste Johnson. Thank you all for watching. Thank you again, Celeste. I want you to know, with all of you watching, hit the share button one more time. If you haven't done that already, make sure you stay connected with us. You're amazing. You're incredible. And today is your January 1st. You can dare to succeed against the odds. Today is your January 1st because now is your time. And I know as you're watching, you've got to put your sunglasses on. The future is bright. And I know for you, the best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. With that being said, my name, for those folks that are curious, is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. And I promise you from the bottom of my heart, we'll make some good things happen. We connect again next time. Remember, time is long. It really is. Life, on the other hand, is very, very short. You got to live in the moment. You got to make it count. God bless, and we wish you success. Thanks a lot, Celeste. You're incredible.
Thank you.
We love you all. We're out of here, everyone. Peace. We got to go. Bye-bye. Promise I made to my mom. I only did this message for one person, and that's my mom. This is for you, Mom. Love you. My name is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Shay Brown.
Mic check, mic check.
All I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
Yes. Yeah.
And they stay there, and they stay there, and they stay there.
Yeah.
'Cause all I do is win, win.
Thank you. God bless.